We know that Pinelands Creative Workshop is not a very rich organization, and therefore, what about sponsorship for these programs? And also, give me an idea of how many businesses or groups are part of the program.
Right. Actually, we started out, the think tank process was a very wide, engaging process. But in terms of filtering out to how much businesses we can support, we were actually looking at between 7 or 8, between 7 and 10 within each country. So we presently have about 7 or 8 in Dominica. We did Grenada right after Dominica. We had about 15 businesses there. When we did Barbados, we had about 25. So basically we're talking about 25 and about another 22 or so. So we're talking about well over 40 businesses that we're working with presently in terms of getting them to the point of actually having a business that is functional, actually having a product or service that is marketable, that can go to market. In terms of the resources for the project, what we've been doing in the absence of financial resources, because finances is critical, one, in terms of giving the technical support, the ongoing technical support to these women. Two, in terms of some of the actual on-hand stuff that they need right now in terms of the standardization and the branding and stuff. And then what we've been doing in respect to resources is also forming partnerships. So that's why we've formed partnerships with Propel. During the Format conference, I've actually had some interesting discussions with a number of players, which I'm looking to bring on board, that can also bring resources and assistance, technical support to the project in many different ways. So the development of the website is also another important instrument that we've been using in terms of pulling resources to the project. So we're working on what we're calling a regional resource center for women, working on the technical level, and we hope to capture on the regional site all the pertinent information that is necessary to help women to set their businesses up and to actually continue to support them over the long term. So it resolves the sustainability issue. This is one of the key issues, critical determinants of business that women raised when we did the think tanks, in that there were no mechanisms to support them over the long term. So what we did was to establish the Regional Resource Center for Women, which can provide all of the technical support that they will need over the long term. It is there for use on an ongoing basis. So we're building that. You can reach mentors on there. They can get free online training in terms of accounting, in terms of marketing. We've just established a marketplace where we're hoping that they can meet vendors, they can meet salespersons, they can meet philanthropists, people who may be willing to invest in their businesses. So that on this site, we are hoping to put in all the technical and financial resources that they would need to support them in an ongoing way. So we see this project as a long-term venture. We really thank UN Women for facilitating the initial injection. They are the only funder to this venture right now at this point in time. So we take our hats off to UN Women for seeing it through. We started with just a discussion in terms of what we can do to help women over the long term. And this discussion has now emerged into this regional movement. And we hope to be able to link this into all of the other necessary regional movements that's happening. We hope that also, in a very practical way, some of the lessons that we are learning from this project could feed into some of the macro policy dimensions, because at the end of the day, this is necessary to set the framework what's supposed to happen at the national level. It is persons like these that we should be able to hear from in terms of what are some of their challenges, basic things like access to microfinance, microcredit, and then some of the microfinance facilities. What are some of the challenges with these things with microcredit and microfinance, and how can we feed this into the policy dimensions in terms of setting a national framework, national environment that will enable the people that really benefit. Because at the end of the day, we keep saying in terms of our poverty strategies, our poverty reports, women are the vulnerable sector. So we are hoping that this project can move to the next step of actually being a very practical, innovative approach to helping the women to move from poverty to more sustainable livelihoods in terms of doing things for themselves and for their households.
How long has this initiative been going on?
We started last year, November.
Wow.
So it's just less than a year, but we've done so much in just under a year. And like I say, we are in it for the long haul. We're hoping to get ongoing support from UN Women. We're hoping to build other partners into the project. I just had a discussion with the OS Youth Business Trust Executive Director, and we've been talking about how we can bring them into the picture. Particularly, we've been talking about ongoing training using webinars, and how they can support that type of facility in terms of talking to people using the internet facility. So we have some very interesting dynamics in terms of going into the future for the project.